Eminem's garbage, mate.
Yeah, let's start with Eminem doing a diss track. Tell me about that. What is going on with this Trump thing?
Okay, so BET Awards always has these things called the BET Cyphers.
Yeah,
and
right.
they get all the rappers to come in and they pull them together in groups and they all do a verse each. And it usually everyone's just trying to outdo each other, right? Mm-hmm. So Eminem came to his verse at the end of the cypher, and they're in some like dilapidated car park looking structure.
Yep.
And he dedicated the entire verse to dissing Donald Trump, which has like become like a huge thing.
Yeah, it's trending heaps on YouTube.
Yeah, massive, right? So and everyone was like loving Eminem for it. A lot of people were bagging him as well.
Yeah, rightly so.
And I've actually, after doing a bit more research about it, I thought he actually wrote this and then rapped it. And it is atrocious. Like, it sounds terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Except apparently he just did it off the top of his head. It's an actual freestyle. Which
he doesn't do that often, does he, anymore?
Not that I know of. So it's actually a little bit more commendable knowing that it's an actual freestyle, but it's still arse.
Yeah.
It's trash.
Yeah.
If you're that bad when you're freestyling, write it down.
Yeah.
Like, come up with something better than that. The problem, but seriously, the problem isn't just his flow and all that sort of stuff. And Redman, actually, I listened to Redman sticking up for Eminem and saying he was really proud of him for doing it. And he didn't have to do it, and he used his platform to speak to power and all that sort of stuff. I understand that. I respect Redman. I respect his opinion. Problem is, Eminem's made his entire career and all of his money off being a sexist, misogynist, homophobe.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, I am.
Right?
It's kidding me.
And now he's got all the money in the world.
Yep.
And he wants to turn around and tell people how they should think and feel about someone like Donald Trump. It's the height of hypocrisy. Eminem standing on a soapbox is ridiculous. It's like Hitler telling people to leave Jews alone.
Couldn't you argue that he's playing Slim Shady, a character?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
what character is he now?
Well, I don't know.
Now he's just Marshall Mathers.
Isn't he? Didn't he do that album? That was the last album he did?
The Marshall Mathers one.
Yeah, does that mean he's now in that mode?
Well, the Marshall Mathers LP, if you listen, I think that's his best album, the first Marshall Mathers LP that came out in like 2001. It had Stan on it and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but he did a second one.
Yeah, he did Marshall Mathers LP 2.
Yeah.
Which is garbage.
Yeah.
It's trash, right? So, it's true. Eminem's trash. He's been teetering on the edge of irrelevancy for a long time. He should have stayed retired.
What do you think?
I'm just listening to the rant, but continue.
He should have stayed retired. He came out of retirement with that trash Relapsed, straight up garbage.
I didn't know he did retire, actually.
Yeah, well, he retired, right? And then, because he at that point when he retired, back whenever it was, 2007 or 2008 or something like that, maybe it was 2006, I don't know.
Right.
But he left because he was already falling off. Right? His music, in my opinion, after the first two albums, I was sort of done with it. When he brought out the third album, he only had like a couple of half-decent songs, in my opinion, and you could see the writing was on the wall in terms of his creativity.
Right.
The shtick was running dry. So then he came back and, retired, then came back and did this Relapsed album, which was garbage, basically just making pop music. So conforming to the shit that he'd railed against most of his career, trying to separate himself from the pop crowd, right? And then he went back to the Marshall Mathers LP style, and that second album, the original Marshall Mathers LP, was like filled with homophobic shit and misogynist, sexist shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, it's just hypocritical. I don't want to hear anything he has to say. And isn't it funny that he's got an album coming out in a few weeks?
Oh, does he?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be lots of Trump stuff.
Is it a coincidence?
Yeah.
Or is he
Yeah, of course.
just
Coinky
throwing
dink.
him,
Coinky dink.
Yeah.
Coinky dink. Don't worry about that.
Absolute
coinky dink.
Yeah, for sure. And people will have a counter argument to that, I'm sure, and they'll want to say something else about how Eminem was just basically using his position of authority to speak to Trump's inability to do anything right, or what kind of person he is. But I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. It's kind of like Jay-Z using his new album to ridicule and criticize rappers for like putting stacks of money up to their ear like telephones, and saying that that's ignorant sort of behavior and black people need to behave better. And if you look at the clips from Eminem's new album that have been released, it's very critical of black culture and stuff like that, and how they need to be better. That's the message I'm getting
Jay-Z's
from it.
album. Not
Yeah,
Eminem's.
this is Jay-Z's new album.
But you think you said Eminem, didn't you? Like 2 seconds ago.
Did I say Eminem? Sorry.
Anyway, continue.
So I'm talking about Jay-Z's new album, but he's got all the money in the world as well. And now Jay-Z is like 40-something years old and finally decided to grow up and be mature. And now he's ridiculing and criticizing people who are trying to get to the same place he is.
Everyone grows. Takes, everyone grows at different paces, I guess.
No, but the hypocrisy is like he's made money from doing all that same ignorant stuff before that he's criticizing. Is he going to give all that money back?
No.
Well, perhaps he's reached a level of understanding now that he's trying to teach to the younger rappers not to go the way that he went. Much the same as Eminem is trying to teach the younger rappers not to be homophobic and sexist.
But that stuff doesn't sell, right?
That's, right.
Because that's, at least, hence Trump being appointed president or whatever. People voted for that dude.
Well, even Ellen DeGeneres, tweeted out that she loves Eminem. And it's like, she's openly gay or openly lesbian, right? Eminem, she should hate Eminem for all the things that he said and all that sort of stuff.
I know, no doubt he'd probably draw that line with, man, I'm playing a character. It's my character. Like wrestlers, it's a character, not real.
I understand it's a persona, right?
Yeah.
And sort of it blurs the line between reality and fiction and all that.
Well, that he's grown since his early days. I mean, because he came out in 99, 2000. It's been 17 years.
His first album.
Almost 20 years. Maybe he's grown as an artist.
I'm not saying he has to be the same person he was 20 years ago. I mean, there's a proverb that says if you're the same person you were 20 years ago, you haven't done anything.
So if he had lyrics where he acknowledged that's how he used to be and that he's come around, and would that be a little bit more honest or earnest?
Palatable?
Yeah.
Well, I just don't want to hear... I mean, people would say, well, Donald Trump's the president. You have to hold him to a higher standard or whatever. I would argue that Eminem's influence over pop culture exceeds that of the president.
Yeah, potentially.
His command over the youth exceeds that of the president's. So, in terms of what he is capable of doing and influencing people, he's very guilty of all the things that he's, accusing Trump of as well.
There's this big argument that music informs culture, but I'm of the opinion that culture informs music, and music has no power whatsoever.
You think music has no power whatsoever?
Not really.
What about that song, Heal the World?
Heal the world, make it a better place.
Heal the world.
Well, the world's very sick still.
Make it a better place. Anyway.
That's not a bad impression, actually.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's this big, idea that music's really this changing thing. I think it's just part of the change, not an engineer of change.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Controversy.
Do you think, though, that Eminem... do you think he's a hypocrite for doing this?
Look, I haven't listened to enough Eminem to have an opinion. I literally have listened to maybe 5 or 6 of his tracks in his entire career.
Okay, fair enough.
Just what's been on MTV and Channel V and whatever other music shows are on. Yeah. So, I haven't listened to the Marshall Mathers LP in full or any of his LPs. I haven't even watched this Cypher that he does, so I can't comment on that either. All I know is that I once watched Common try and do a freestyle on the MTV Awards, which was absolutely fucking disgusting.
And I like Common's,
which tells you that freestyling is actually quite an art.
Oh, yeah.
And not many rappers can freestyle.
Well, anyone who's listening to this, go and look up Kanye trying to freestyle on Sway.
Yeah.
He went on that Sway show and he asked Kanye to do a freestyle, and it was just straight up trash. The dude couldn't even freestyle. He actually turned it into a joke so that it would make it look like he was not freestyling. But the truth was, you could see that he had no ability to do it.
Kanye can't freestyle. Kanye is quite literally a producer and a writing and a written nigga.
Well, Sway asked him. Sway said to him, kick a freestyle for us, Kanye. And then Kanye was like, I haven't written anything new lately. He's like, no, I didn't have to have written it. He said, just kick a freestyle. Just rap something for me. And then Kanye's like, oh, I don't know, about what? And then Sway's like, I don't know, some of the stuff you've been talking about, these corporate entities that won't give you a chance to, do your thing. And Kanye just kind of looked at him.
Yeah, he didn't like being put on the spot.
No idea, man. No idea.
In the same sense, that's what happened to Common. You got ambushed by somebody.
Yeah.
I believe. Kick a freestyle, Common. And then he did, and my goodness.
It was trash.
Awful. No, and I mean, it was worse than the freestyles that you and I have kicked. It was fucking terrible.
It doesn't surprise me. He's a studio rapper. He's a great writer, right? I think Common's as much a poet as any actual poet.
But he writes. He's not a freestyler.
He's not a freestyler.
The idea that all rappers are freestylers is
a misconception.
A fallacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that should be removed from the cultural zeitgeist.
Now there are some rappers who can freestyle, but then you actually got to look at like I'm looking at like people like Supernatural.
Yeah,
I'm looking at like Juice. Guys like that actually have made their legacies off freestyling.
And the freestylers
can do it over beats and stuff as well. What the Bomb Funk MCs?
That's the word, yeah.
No, they're trash, man. Come on. It's like some Scandinavian Euro hip hop trash.
It's Dutch hip hop,
and the rhymes were poor, right?
Yeah. Did he look like he stuffed up at one point, or was that deliberate?
No, it was deliberate. Those things were deliberate. Yeah. Like that first part that he said where he's like, this is an awfully hot coffee pot. Should I drop it on Donald Trump? Probably not.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but then he actually says, like, that's all I've got right now until I think of something better. He actually says in the lines after that he admits that that's garbage. But to even rap that is garbage.
Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha.
Love Eminem.
Used to.
No, I don't. Never did.